What I consumed this week was Hamilton.
Oh, sure.
Hamilton. I don't know if any of you have heard of it.
Is that a car brand?
Yeah.
Is that
yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm with you.
Driving around in my Hamilton. Obviously, we all know about Hamilton. Lin-Manuel Miranda's opus. You couldn't avoid it for all of 2016.
Correct.
Period.
I literally couldn't avoid it. I was supposed to go. I told this on Keep It before. I was supposed to go see The Color Purple, and then a friend was like, before I left New York, I was there writing on a show, and he goes, I actually got an extra ticket for Hamilton, weirdly, and it's the only time in history I've ever thought I literally have to go see that, and then give up whatever else I was doing because I know this is like what 2016 means. Like I have to be there.
Yes, that was. There are very few shows like that sometimes, that happen on Broadway. But there's always just a moment where you forgive a friend if they're like, listen, I know we have dinner tonight. I got Hamilton tickets.
The girl Hamilton.
Gotta go.
So this is something you saw Hamilton live, Ira?
So I had not actually seen Hamilton before, but I knew the music very well.
Same.
So it was great. After all the build up, it was great. I watched it with my best friend Royce this past weekend, and he really enjoyed it. He didn't know any of the music. It was weird for me knowing like all of the music and the entire story, and then just sort of now finally taking in the performances. And I was also high as fuck. So. There was that, but listen, I get it. I always got it. There's always been this contingent of people who are very anti-Hamilton because they hate people who express joy on the internet. There are very valid reasons to dislike Hamilton. The two leads are the weakest parts of the show, for instance.
Interesting. I'm thinking about that.
As in Lin and Phillipa Soo.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. I was thinking Leslie Odom. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no. Sorry. Leslie Odom won the Tony as well for lead actor, but Lin was nominated, and Phillipa Soo was also nominated for lead actress in a musical, and Cynthia Erivo beat her for The Color Purple. And then Renee wins, and Daveed Diggs won. Obviously, which is, I just think those are the three strongest people in the show, and it was just taking it all in and realizing there are things that I would critique now, and it was funny seeing people sort of realize these things now that they can experience it. Maybe they hadn't listened to the music before, which I get. Not everyone who's not a theater nerd really listens to a soundtrack or cast recording before they go and see the show. But there's weird moments where it just sort of like pays some sort of lip service to, Hamilton's wife after he dies, trying to be like an abolitionist and like help slaves and et cetera, and I feel like it sort of overstates how anti-slavery he was. He didn't personally own them, but he was involved in purchasing them for family members. And I think slavery is just sort of like glossed over a bit. I mean, there's a scene where like Sally Hemings is sexily dancing with Thomas Jefferson. It's just one offhand line, but I was like, girl, what am I watching here?
There also is just the feeling about when you watch Hamilton, and this is not a knock against it, but it does feel like a bunch of teachers put together a social studies lesson at an assembly.
It's Schoolhouse Rock.
You know what I mean?
It's Schoolhouse Rock.
Yeah.
Yes. I think the music is fantastic, and there are a lot of songs that like truly, truly work, and I love it as a production and the work that was put into it. But yes, it does feel a lot like a history lesson in parts, and I'm like, okay. I do like the transformation, putting all of the characters in different races, in a way. It works in like a show like The Great, which I really enjoy as well. I want to see more of that, but ultimately, my final thoughts on Hamilton are just, it's a fun show, and if you dislike it for reasons like I mentioned, like, like the issue of slavery and like race, etc. Like fully have those discussions about Hamilton, but it was just weird seeing this drop this weekend and seeing people revert back to like really going in about how like liking Hamilton is awful, or just like wanting to just sort of like attack Lin-Manuel Miranda for making this thing. And it was like, one, if you don't like Hamilton, you really should have muted the word 4 years ago.
If you don't like Hamilton,
It's like
why
it's
did
been
you
4
watch Hamilton?
years. Like if you had completely muted your timeline of any Hamilton mention, you wouldn't have even known this shit was dropping this weekend.
I will say that the spectacle of Jonathan Groff's spit when he sings, I know this is much discussed online. I mean, it really is unbelievable. It looks like rabies or something. It just you don't expect what you're gonna get.
When I had mentioned before that he was a spitter when he sings, like when he was showering me in Spring Awakening and truly in Little Shop of Horrors, that man's lips are beyond wet in this show, and the close-ups. It looks like he poured Gatorade over his lips
right
after they got a touchdown. I was like, why are your lips so wet?
Singing's hard.
Yeah. As much as I understand all the like white liberal, all the critiques of Hamilton, I know too many black theater kids who love Hamilton and love rapping along that I'm like, girl, there's layers to this shit.
There was a tweet from someone who was like, I don't get how you can all be sort of mean, funny, and critical, but also like Hamilton. And I was like, have you literally met a theater kid?
They don't do anything else but that.
We are
That's
bitches.
the recipe.
Yeah, we are bitches and we are assholes and a little bit mean, but we also cry to La Vie Boheme, okay?
There we go.
Intersectionality.